Coming up, how can you instill a positive self-image and empathy in your children?
Welcome to Having It All, Lifestyles of the Rich and Conscious with MarBeth Dunn, featuring experts and pioneers in health, wealth, relationships, and spirituality, creating a happier, healthier, wealthier you. And now, here's our host, MarBeth Dunn.
Today on the Having It All Show, my dear friends Beth Donnelly and Dagny Grant, co-hosts of Echoes of the Universe radio show and co-authors of the international best-selling Journey of Joy children's book series. Welcome, guys. I'm so happy to have you on the show.
Thank you, MarBeth.
Good morning. Yeah, thank you. We're excited to be here.
Yay, 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 yay. I've known these guys for years, and they are amazing. So tell our audience, how did you two decide to join together to write this beautiful children's book series? I've got all the books right in front of me right here.
Good.
Well, thanks. I'll go ahead and start with that. This is Dagny. And, Beth and I had a radio show. We've had a radio show for about 3.5 years now. And so we were business partners. One of the things that I had looked into doing was creating a product on ClickBank and having that, and marketing that. And one of the things that I've always kind of had this idea of having a little girl named Joy and a Journey of Joy product of some kind. And so I was telling Beth about that one day on the phone. I was just describing what I was looking at in creating a product for ClickBank. And she got so excited about the idea. And we started talking about different adventures Joy could be on and different, friends that she could meet. And so I just said, we clearly shared a passion for this concept. And so I asked her if she would be interested in partnering up and let's do this together. And luckily for me, she was willing to do that. And so we've shared the process the whole way from this, the seed to the 4 books, the 4 individual books. Plus we've actually last year combined the 4 books into one volume with the 4 stories kind of as chapters. And so it's been a really fun experience, hasn't it, Beth?
It's been a really amazing experience. You're right. And, we really wanted to represent kids in our books that were empowered and that were kind and courageous and who have self-esteem. And really important part of it was that they have empathy for others. And we just felt that when kids have these qualities, their life sort of becomes magical. And it's magical because most kids, maybe even some adults too, don't really even know that they have the power to change their thoughts and their feelings and their emotions. And because they have that power, they can change their lives. And so we wanted to give kids this concept at an early age. And that's really why we just jived together on our motivation for writing these books. And then they just came about very quickly, actually.
They're wonderful.
Yeah,
they're wonderful. And you both are from such different backgrounds. You, Beth, are an opera singer and travel around the world with the Glory Singers performing. I had the wonderful opportunity, the great pleasure to experience a performance of yours and your husband, Doug, in Rome, or just outside of Rome. That was amazing. And and Dagny, you're coming from a completely different background. You have, the NLP. You do all different kinds of coaching and mentoring and speaking. So I think it's really great. I think you both bring just something special to these books. And reading them, I was wondering, who brought this and who brought that. So
I don't know the answer to that question.
Well, that's one of the kind of fun things for Beth and I to just kind of reminisce about is when we first began the process, how we started. And it was just having a discussion kind of like this of what are things that little kids go through, kids in grade school, ages from 5 to 12. What are the things that kids are going through with not only their classmates in school, but with their siblings and their parents and their, all different experiences that they may have as part of their childhood that's actually forming who they are for their lifetime, especially those years, birth through 7, of course, we know are incredibly important in shaping who we are. And we basically made a list of those various things that kids might go through, and then different languaging ideas for how we would present that to kids. I know Beth and I really had fun coming up with language ideas for that, didn't we, Beth? for how kids could understand the grown-up concepts we were talking about.
Well, that's wonderful. Yes, because you have to be speaking their language.
We kind of established the character of Glitter as the voice of wisdom. She's kind of a magical character, and she's a butterfly, and we begin each story with, hello, my name is Glitter. Do you believe in magic? And then we convey this kind of magical story. And it's not just about what's going on around us. It's about how we think and feel. And of course, that's how Joy and all the characters in these books kind of dive into this magic, because they know how to respond in a way that's more healthy and more kind and more empathetic. And so that's been a real kind of guiding line for us. And what Dagny was saying about using languaging, we use the word happy place for alignment, because alignment is so important. But to let kids know what that is, we thought happy place would be really great. I kind of like using happy place.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I love that you use the I am principles in your books. Can you share more about them? What's the general premise? I know that we have been partners in the I am group for many years. But why don't you share this with our audience?
The biblical context of that I learned as a child, of course, and I know Beth did too. I assume that you did as well, MarBeth, and the audience is I am that I am. That God, this is how God introduced himself. And from early childhood, different areas of my life would bring the I am concept, that those words are everything we put after the words I am are part of our self-identity. And it is that self-identity that is what we are suggesting to kids that they look at. We actually have an I am game that they play in the books, where they talk about a challenge one of them or a couple of them are having throughout the book, and then they play the I am game to talk about what I ams are more healthy, rather than I am ugly or I am stupid. That you replace that with what your true identity really is, not a false identity. And just the I am great. That book title alone is so kind of encompassing of the concept of just allowing our greatness based on the I ams that we choose to use for ourselves.
That's so true. And, we have this character in one of the books, I think it's the second book, Stanley the Bulldog. And he came onto the scene feeling really depressed, and because somebody had told him he was ugly. And one of the other characters who have Fred, the baby dragon, who is also a character.
Love Fred.
Do you love Fred? Nah, he's my favorite too. But he tells Stanley, no, you're not ugly. I think you're cool. And so that was the beginning of Stanley developing a new self-image about his qualities and the way he was going to look at his life. And so it was really very cool to let these characters share and give the characters the words. Because sometimes kids have an idea, but they don't have the words to actually say it. So we made that a really important fact of these books, always to give the words.
Yeah, and that book is titled "I Am Unique and Awesome," and one of the fun parts of that book, where it takes it even a step further, is that Stanley's Stanley's human is a boy, an older boy who is in a wheelchair, who is also unique and awesome. So it's it unfolds in a lot of ways that are, I think, just expanding the consciousness of kids and how they view different things.
Do you feel that you are pioneers in bringing personal development to children?
Yes.
In a word.
Yes, so readily, because one of the things that Beth and I did in the process was we looked at other people's children's books. We looked at other people's children's books and very famous people's children's books. And these really are unique in both their amazing graphics. The artist that we had was just brilliant. And in the stories that unfold, multiple stories unfold in each of these books. And I think that it really is, the concepts are brilliant and can literally affect the lives, the ongoing lives as these kids morph, and transmute into young teens and into adults.
And the more that they read them, the more lessons that they'll learn, which I think is amazing. But I'm curious as to what you both have learned from writing this series.
That's a really good question, MarBeth. I think adults have some of these same issues, and I think that's something that we've sort of put together as we wrote these books. And I constantly look back at Joy and say, oh, remember, Dagny, we said Joy's going to solve this problem in this way, and then we'll say, yeah, we can do the same thing. So these ideas, these concepts are really universal. So I think it goes back and forth all the time. It's something that we can convey and give. And isn't that really what, the law of attraction is too? You put it out there, it comes back to you, and these principles always come back to me, and I'm sure to Dagny too. And we always have a giggle over it.
Well, one of the things too that I think is really fun is the concept of having humor in the unfolding of whatever presents, and I know that's one of the things that you and Harrison Klein also ascribe to is being childlike and having humor in whatever presents, and that's one of the things that our little Fred actually brings a lot of his humor to the story. He's always looking at his reflection in a mirror or in the water or in, the reflection of the slide. He just is fascinated with himself, and it's just a really fun series. I just adore these books. Can you tell?
Yeah. And who's your favorite character?
Boy, you know what? I'm going to have to say Glitter is my personal favorite character. She is like a combination of Glenda the Good Witch from The Wizard of Oz and Cinderella's fairy godmother. Both stories were magical moments when they had their magic wand and the glitter that sprayed off of their wands and when they waved their arms, it was glitter would sparkles would fly. And see, I equate that with light, with shining light on whatever issue might be presented. Be the light, be the change, be the light, be the love, and that's what I think Glitter. Not only does she bring adult wisdom as that character of the story, but also she just really brings a lot of love and kindness and patience and empathy and authenticity to the story, as she interjects herself and kind of guides these other characters to new ways of thinking of things.
That's wonderful. Yeah. What do you think, Beth?
Well, I think that my favorite character probably is Joy. she's the main lady in this series, and she's constantly, putting herself out there and extending her help and service to others. And, children can find, that inner light in themselves when they reach out to help other people. And she does that. She does that all the way through this series. And to give someone with sincerity and love cannot help but be a gift of joy to you, to yourself. And I find that in my own life a lot too. When I give, that's when I'm happiest, is when I give some light to somebody else, and then it just shines right back to me. And I know in these books, Joy is just filled with light when she experiences all these other characters. So I guess she'd be my favorite one.
We'll be back to our show in just a moment. Would you agree that the current state of the world is angry, chaotic, turbulent, and possibly insane? And that's not even mentioning everyone's personal issues. We all need miracles, and now is the time. I'm MarBeth Dunn, the Miracle Mama. Imagine a river of miracles flowing into your life, bringing harmonious relationships, better health, prosperity, clarity, peace of mind, and a deep sense of joy. What if you could know all your needs are being met and feel calm and peaceful even in the midst of turbulent change? Get your free guide now, 7 easy ways to harness the power of miracles at miracles101.com. That's miracles101.com, and live your miraculous life. The age level for these, I look at them, and some of the wisdom I think might be old for some of the younger children. So I was just curious.
Well, it's kind of amazing because, Dagny and I kind of believe that little kids really have this wisdom when they come into the world, but it's kind of, maybe not reinforced for them to continue that, and so they kind of lose it and maybe have to refine it or redesign it again within their life and what they do. So, and I think it's for really young kids, you're right, they would need an adult to read it to them, but I think that would be a really an amazing thing for both the adult and the child. But we've had some people write reviews and they thought they were good books for adults too, so we can go with that idea.
I agree with you. I think that there are wonderful principles in there for adults as well. And I think even younger children are going to love the photos, and they'll be really enjoying them. And any principles that are over their head, they'll get on another reading, because young children like to read books over and over again. And so they'll get them on different levels. And I just love that you are taking all of these principles and addressing them to children. I think that's a wonderful thing.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, one of my favorite stories that we tell, although there are just so many, oh my gosh, we cover so much stuff in these 4 books. But in the last book, called I Am Brave, one of the concepts of peer pressure is pretty strongly and repeatedly addressed. And one of the things that I think is really helpful, not only for kids, but for the adults that may read these books to their children or their grandkids or whatever, is the idea of being graciously unavailable. And being graciously unavailable when with a group of people. In this scenario, it was being in school, and some of the girls didn't want to embrace the new kid, the new girl, and or they wanted to speak badly about her or that kind of thing. And being graciously unavailable is just not needing to be resistant or unkind, but just back away from the situation so you don't have to be an active part of it. And I think that that's an interesting way to, if you say you have to go to a piano lesson at the time when your friends are about to bully a kid, then you don't have to be confrontive, but you can also be graciously unavailable.
Right.
And those are the kinds of lessons that are taught throughout the book. And I just think that even the grandma reading the book to their grandkids may glean from that they could actually do that in the staff lounge at the office.
That's true.
And I think Joy actually talks about modeling the behavior that she would like to see in the other girls by actually going over to the new girl and sitting with her at lunch. So she doesn't have to, berate the girls she was originally sitting with, but she could also model an action that she thought would be kind and empathetic. And they probably will see this and hopefully get a new perspective on how they're looking at the new girl.
Courage through kindness. Absolutely.
And that's what we had in mind with the I Am Brave, is that you need to be kind. When you want to be kind, it takes courage. You can't just step out there with without that little bit of courage, and that's what it takes to be brave. To move into actions and thoughts and ideas that maybe are not accepted by the crowd or the group that you're with. And so that's what we wanted to embrace in that book. And that was a great book. I really enjoyed writing that one. There were a lot of characters in that book.
Oh, absolutely. No, these are wonderful, wonderful books. And you've gotten some amazing reviews from Diane Collins, author of Do You Quantum Think? From Sean DeParron, who's been on our show, 6-time Emmy Award winner. I think you're innovators and pioneers, and you're bringing something wonderful, wonderful to children. And I've so enjoyed our time. Do you have any great wisdom you'd like to share with our audience?
Oh, gosh. I'm just thinking so many children and, adults for that matter, have low self-esteem. And I would just say, in the words of our character Joy, at the end of the book, I am enough no matter what, is the words that I would like to put out there for people to really hang on to. I'm enough no matter what. Yes,
very profound.
Yeah, it's the next generation is who's going to be, unfolding what transmutes on the planet, and it's feeding them those things that nourish their soul and their spirit is what's going to really allow things to be peaceful and authentic and light-filled and brilliant. And so, we would actually love to just offer to your audience, if they'd like to print out a printable poster of Fred's with a nice saying for, their refrigerator, their kid, their, classroom, whatever. We'd love to offer that to them.
We'll have all your information and your free gifts on the show page on TheHavingItAllShow.com.
Okay.
So all your information, people will learn how to contact you, all your social media, and they can learn more about you and Matrix Productions, your radio show, which we didn't even get into today because we've been talking about the books. But definitely you need to check out their radio show because it's awesome. Echoes of the Universe on Blog Talk Radio. So thank you so much, Beth and Dagny. We have loved having you on the show. I love you both so much. I love what you're doing. Powerful, powerful work. And starting with children, it's really wonderful.
Thank you, MarBeth. We appreciate you very much.
Yes, we do. Thank you. It's been a joy.
Join MarBeth next week on The Having It All Show, Lifestyles of the Rich and Conscious. Visit TheHavingItAllShow.com now to learn more about MarBeth and her special guests and download your free report.